Hey, what's going on? Trey here with 2X Trading, and today I'm going to be diving into sort of risk management, breaking it down, what it means, how I'm actively using risk management in my trading, and as well as an example of an equity curve that shows proper risk management over a period of time. So, to dive in here, sort of what is risk management? Risk management at its core is controlling your position to never have losses that will wipe your account out in one trade. From there, it's just simply as knowing if your risk reward is favorable in every trade and then trying to make it even more favorable through time. Now, sort of wanted to get into why risk management is a really great thing is because the downside is already calculated before I'm ever in a trade. So that meaning before I'm willing to put my orders in and take a trade, I know what my loss will be if that trade were to lose, as well as how many shares I'm going to be purchasing. Now, next little side point is I will never have a catastrophic loss that blows up my account. This is a very easy to do because if I'm risking 1% of my account every single trade, I know that I will never blow up my account in one trade. We have the power of stop losses nowadays and things to automate it. There's no way that you are going to let a 1% trade with that risk blow your account up. It won't happen. The next being allows for consistency in your results. When losers are consistent, your one goal is then have your winners be bigger. So, consistency also means that, let's say we have a trader who loses $100 every single time. He then knows his winners need to be 3 times, 2 times bigger than his losers, and he will be consistently losing and consistently winning bigger than his losers. Here on the bottom, I have a little graphic showing you sort of what that looks like when it comes into play with risk reward and what win rate you need will relate, to break even. So let's say we have a 1-to-1 risk reward ratio. That means for every win we get one loss. They're equal. That's a 50% win rate to maintain break even. Now here's a risk reward comes into big play. Let's say we have 2-to-1 risk reward ratio. That means one win is now equal to 2 losers. So if I risk $100, that means one win is $200 and 2 losers are $200, $100 each. That means I need a 33% win rate to maintain break even. Now it gets even crazier and crazier as you go, right? We go to 1-to-3 or 1-to-4. 1-to-3 is a 25% win rate and 1-to-4 is a 17% win rate. This is very advantageous to us because when we swing trade, it looks just like this, right? Our winners are usually going to be 3R and our losers will always be 1R. 3R meaning 3 times your risk per trade, which I'll get into in a second here, but pretty much swing trading is a 3-to-1 risk reward ratio right now for me. Now, getting into the next part, sort of what I meant by R, risk per trade, is I'm calling it the formula because this is how I do the math on it, but is how I'm using risk management in my trading. So to start off here, I have my risk per trade. This is the amount of money I am willing to lose on every single trade I take. Once I pick a risk per trade amount, it's pretty much stuck to it. I usually do account percentage, so I do 1% of my account. If I have $10,000, that would be a $100 risk per trade. You can get more aggressive with it or less aggressive with it depending on where you are at. Now, once I know my risk per trade, then the next step is knowing my entry or my stop loss. From there, it's time to calculate how many shares I'm going to be buying, which will result in a $100 loss or a 1R loss, so I know how many shares I buy with the proper risk. So I take my entry price minus my stop loss price, and that gives me a spread. Then it's just the dollar amount of value I'm risking divided by the spread will give me the amount of shares to buy. So if that might have sounded kind of confusing, I have an example here which will make it a lot clearer. So my risk is $100. It's here on the bottom. My risk is $100. Entry of 1.13, stop loss of 1. First step I'm doing now is 1.13 minus 1. Entry minus stop loss. That will give me 0.13. From there, it's my risk, my R, $100 divided by 0.13. That will give me 770. That 770 is how many shares I will buy at 1.13, which will result in a $100 loss if I were to stop out at 1. Same token though, every 13 cents it goes up after entry is going to be a $100 gain. And these are actually levels we did for a real trade. I'll just pull up the chart for that here. So we took this one here at 1.13 just to give you a visual representation of how risk reward played so well here. And we had a stop loss of 1. After we entered, price rallied $1.08 on 13-cent risk. So that means if you were to sell at the high at, 217, that was an 8R gain or 8 times your risk. So here, for $100 risk, that AR would also be equivalent to a $800 win on this one trade where you only risked $100. And that's just how I'm using my risk reward every single day. Now, jumping into what an equity curve would look like of a trader who is actively using risk reward to his advantage. Here in this example, let's just say it is actually a 3R average for his wins, and his losses are always consistent at 1R. So most people would look at this without seeing P&L or total R, without these two columns right here, and they would just look at the win rate and think this guy, it's not that well, losing win rate, cannot be green at all as a trader, right? That's not true. Because since each one of his wins is 3 times a loser, he can afford a 4 out of 9 or 44% win rate and still be green $900 just with the power of risk reward and risk management on his side. Because every single loser is consistent. It's a lot easier for him to pick it up and have that 3-to-1 risk reward ratio really kick into gear and take over for him, allowing him to be profit. So that's just a short video here going over the basics of risk reward. Hope to see you in the server soon. Have a good one.